Hi, everyone. Welcome back. If you are having health problems and have been researching anything on Google, I'm sure you have been inundated with ads for food sensitivity testing. There is a lot of controversy whether these are accurate or not. For me, they helped me drastically, and I do recommend them. However, I would say it depends what company you're going with. So I went with Cyrex Laboratories. That's who my functional practitioner recommended. And I believe that's actually the company that my dietitian uses as well. And I like that they're very thorough in their results. They will test for raw foods, cooked foods, because they know the chemical composition will change once the food is cooked, and they test for various things in the food. So they're not just testing overall for, an egg. They'll test for the egg as a whole, the egg white, the egg yolk. So you're getting the detailed parts of what you're sensitive to. For me personally, I was trying to conquer a lot of health problems and I had a lot of various symptoms. The main culprit for me was candida, but it was also food sensitivities. And I felt that if I just addressed one thing and not the other, it kind of seemed pointless. Because let's say, I'm sensitive to oranges and maybe I'm trying to eat healthy and I'm thinking, oh, I should eat some oranges to get some vitamin C. Well, if I have a food sensitivity to it and my body's going to adversely react to it and I'm not aware of it, maybe it's causing congestion or brain fog or whatever it is, then I'm spending all of this money buying good food, trying to eat healthy, but it might not be quote unquote healthy for me and what my body is looking for. A warning that these tests are not cheap. However, if you are having a lot of health problems like I was, to the point where you're barely able to function and can barely work at your job and won't be able to hold a job in the future because you're so sick, it wasn't even a question to me. It was, yeah, of course I'm going to spend, I don't know, maybe $500 or $600 on this test because I'll be able to get to the root of my problems, make the changes I need to, and then be able to make more money in the future, which is what I was able to do. Another option to take is the elimination diet, where you take everything out and then add it back in one at a time, see what your reaction is. For me, I didn't have the patience for that. I didn't have the time. I was struggling to survive every day. I wanted to know what was causing my issues so I could get better as fast as possible. And when you're on a full elimination diet, like they test for a lot of things. I don't even know what you would be able to eat if you did a full elimination of everything that is tested for on these tests, to be honest with you. So let's pull up my results and I'll go through it with you. All right, so this is what your results will look like. It is from Cyrex Laboratories, as I said earlier, and this one was specifically for wheat and gluten. It had been a while since I had actually eaten any gluten. The fact that I still had a result from maybe something that was, in a sauce or something minuscule shows to me that I am extremely sensitive to it, which at this point I had already known that I become absolutely brain dead and can't function and I'm just wheat drunk whenever I have it. So that I knew, but it helped reiterate, yeah, I'm so severely allergic to it that it comes up even when it's just a tiny, potentially minute amount that I had by accident in something. And what I like about Cyrex Laboratories is that it is going through every single part of it. It's not just going through, just the wheat IgA and IgG. It's going through every little section that you could potentially be allergic to. And for most of these, I have no idea what they mean. Doesn't matter. Work with a doctor who knows what it means. But more or less, it gets down to the basis of searching through all parts of a substance to see if there is any sensitivity to it at all, which I really like. I do like that it does make it easier for the layperson, such as myself, to understand. So I was able to, go over my test results and understand what the intricacies of it meant before I was able to have an appointment with my doctor, which was nice that I wasn't just waiting. And so it goes over what your results mean, the reactivity of gluten, et cetera, et cetera. So I'll just scroll through this one just so you can kind of get an idea of all the things that they go over. And the next one I did was for gluten-associated cross-reactive foods. So these are things that are typically contaminated with wheat. So apparently instant coffee is known for being typically contaminated with wheat. Another one that's well known is oats. So they're typically produced on the same factory line, something like that. So whenever I buy oats, I have to make sure they are labeled as gluten-free to make sure I don't get any cross-contamination. This one also tested for dairy sensitivities. And as you can see, It shows that I am allergic to milk. Yes, I did say that correctly. And it shows, everything is either in range, equivocal, or out of range. So I was clearly out of range for that. Foods that are typically overconsumed on gluten-free diets. They're maybe not foods that a lot of people are eating regularly, but if you are gluten sensitive and you're on a gluten-free diet, you will typically be exposed to more of these. And the last one I did with them was food immune reactivity screen. So it tested all the components of eggs, so the egg white and the egg yolk. I was allergic to both of those, and I have tried eggs since, and I've gotten used to cheating a little bit here and there. If I'm at a restaurant, I will get something that has mayo in it because I know it's a small amount of egg, and I'm usually okay. But I tried to add it back in maybe over a year ago, like a year and a half ago, and I had a few omelets and I was just super congested and could not stop sneezing. So for me, I know that egg is still unfortunately an issue. Hopefully one day in the future I might be able to add it back in. They look over other grains, rice, and the different parts of rice, right? Cake, rice protein, wild rice, beans and legumes. I didn't even know what fava beans were. I had no idea that I had ever eaten them in my life. And then I found out that they were an ingredient in one of my um, meatless sausages that I used to eat was they had fava bean in there. And apparently it was enough and my body didn't like it enough to react to it. And you can see this is a really extensive test. So they test for all the nuts and seeds. Hopefully not allergic to any of those because that would have been really hard on this diet without that. And they test vegetables, which I was fortunate enough to not really be reactive to too many vegetables. I think I was reactive to one, maybe. I'm scrolling through so you can get an idea of everything that's tested. But yeah, and they even test for seaweed and then all the fruits. Oh yeah, I was sensitive to avocado. That sucked to take out for a while, but I have been able to add that back in, and that is really nice. Yeah, you can see how extensive this is. It just keeps going. I don't actually know the number of how many things they test for. Then they go through the different types of fish and seafood, goes through meat, all the different herbs, spices, gums like carrageenan, guar gum, through teas, coffee, food coloring. You can see that the test is long and very extensive. It really tests for every possibility of food sensitivity. For me, I found it extremely helpful. I felt much better when I eliminated these foods and have continued to do so more or less to this day. I have since been able to add avocados back in. And I have, as I said earlier, I tried eggs. That didn't do well. And I have cheated a bit with dairy when I've been out at restaurants. Only small amounts. I'm not eating cheese dishes or, really milk sauce dishes like that. Going back to the prices, you can try to see if you find a doctor that can get it covered by insurance. The odds of that happening, especially in the US, are, I don't know, 99.9999999. No, never going to fucking happen. You're going to have to pay out of pocket for it. But if you find somebody who is willing, awesome. I would be amazed. Please comment below if you've ever been able to have any kind of food sensitivity testing covered. And if so, what kind of magical insurance do you have? My guess would be you probably don't live in the US. I hope that was helpful for you. And if you have any questions, of course, just leave them in the comments and I will answer the best I can. Have a great day. Bye.